Neither WWE nor ESPN is fully innocent here. WWE oversold what the deal would be for the fans. ESPN priced everyday fans out, and both sides are pointing fingers instead of fixing the disconnect. So what we're going to do is talk about the ESPN and WWE collaboration and why it's not working the way they hope. What's good, everyone? Welcome to the DC Drop. Let me ask you something real quick. You ever see two people start dating and like 3 months in, everyone around them already knows it's not gonna work? Well, that's WWE and ESPN right now. A $1.6 billion marriage, and the divorce papers might already be getting drafted. But here's the thing everyone's getting wrong. This isn't just ESPN being mad, or just WWE being greedy. Both sides fumbled the bag at this point. And today, I'm giving you somewhat of a full timeline, some receipts, and I'm gonna tell you who called it first. And it ain't who you think. So let's get to it. Before we get into what dropped this week, I need you to take it back to December. Freddie Prinze Jr., yes, that Freddie Prinze Jr., former WWE creative, the man who married Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He went on his Wrestling with Freddie podcast back in December and dropped a bomb. He said, and I quote, "ESPN, by the way, is so unhappy with the deal. I was talking to a friend of mine who worked for Disney, and he was just like, yo, they better make their money back on this deal. Hey, he just said they're hot." End quote. And if you guys want to check it out, I did a video back in December on it, and I have the full clip from them. Now, what happens next? The wrestling media machine went into damage control. WWE higher-ups told Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp, and I quote, "No one in WWE upper management is aware Freddie Prinze Jr.'s role in wrestling or otherwise." Now, that's a shot. That's WWE trying to discredit the messenger instead of addressing the message from the messenger. And I covered that in the previous video. WWE basically ignored everything about this man. They said, who is Freddie Prinze Jr., even though they damn well know who he is because he used to write for them. It was a short time that he wrote for them, but still. But ESPN's response was this. And an ESPN's rep said they haven't heard that chatter and have enjoyed working with WWE thus far. Basically, a corporate non-denial denial. Fast forward 3 months later, and everything Freddie said just got confirmed. So give the man his credit. He was the first to sound the alarm. Now, this week alone, so this past Tuesday, March 3rd, sports business insider Blake X. Avinen dropped a report on X that lit the entire IWC on fire. And this ain't some random dirt sheet guy. This is a sports business reporter breaking it from ESPN sources directly. Here's what he reported, and I'm giving you the bullet points because this message over here, this whole X message over here, you guys can read it while I read out my bullet points. It's pretty dense, so I have to break it down. And I'm going to break it down basically in 3 parts. The first one is the DNA mismatch, basically on ESPN's side. Sources inside ESPN are calling this a DNA mismatch, a strong phrase. That's not what we have some kinds kinks to work out. That's we're fundamentally different organisms trying to share a body. ESPN insider say WWE leadership hasn't made a unified push to fix the shortcomings in the transition. Now, is ESPN right? Partly. WWE clearly came into this partnership expecting the ESPN machine to just work for them. But also, ESPN knew what WWE was when they signed the $1.6 billion check. Pro wrestling isn't the NFL. The audience consumes content differently than the NFL or any other sports. So there's blame on both sides for not having better integration in the planning. Now, part 2 of this is obviously what we've been talking about, at least for the past 2 weeks, which is the WrestleMania 42 ticket sales. Now, that's WWE's problem. And this is where it gets ugly for WWE specifically. Ticket sales for WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas are sluggish. Wrestling Observer says sales have decreased by over 17,000 units or 17,000 tickets. Most tickets that have sold are on the lower end, so all the higher up seats. 6 weeks out from the biggest show of the year, and they can't fill the building at full price. That's a problem, guys. But here's the other side. They're still reporting that they're pacing for record revenue because of inflated prices. So WWE will spin this as a win, but fewer butts in seats at higher prices. That's not the same as a hot product. They priced out everyday fan and family, right? So they're pricing out everyone. You even said Disney was in trouble because of money issues. They're always in trouble. What else is new? The third item, and this just came since right before Elimination Chamber, and it's been another hot topic. The watch ban. The watch party ban, to be exact. This is WWE shooting themselves in the foot because they're so desperate to figure out issue number 2, which was the ticket sales. This one is wild. WWE restricted Las Vegas businesses surrounding Allegiant Stadium within a 50-mile radius from broadcasting WrestleMania 42. Even if they pay for the licensing fee, they can't show it on their local bar, restaurant, whatever. ESPN sources call this a self-inflicted deterrent or self-inflicted wound for those that may not understand that. And they're right. Think about it. If a price-sensitive fan watches night 1 at a local bar and it's amazing, like, oh my God, this is going to be great, and they broadcast right before the end of night 1 what's going to come for night 2, they want to go, but they can't. They panic. They don't want to miss night 2. They buy a ticket. That's a, YOLO effect or a FOMO effect. WWE just killed their own FOMO pipeline because of that. This is 100% a WWE misstep. ESPN is right to be frustrated here because it hurts them through ESPN Plus or, ESPN, whatever they call it, because now the bars are not going to buy their product. You can, ESPN, they can get the charge, and then the bars can charge fans, whatever. So they get the $30 a month from the bars. The bars can charge people for coming in, kind of like what they do for UFC events. So you can't charge fans $30 a month. Also charge WrestleMania ticket prices and block the free marketing that watch parties provide. The watch parties are free marketing device for them, because if I originally didn't want to go to WrestleMania and I go to a watch party, if I live in Vegas and I like night 1 and I find out there's a ticket I can afford for night 2, I can go. It's free marketing. I don't understand why they can't do that. They basically just did a triple tax on their fan base. Why? They're panicking with all the freaking, I don't know. They're pricing them out. Now, you can't, and they're trying so hard, like TKO is trying so hard to use the pricing UFC model on WWE, but WWE is not the same fan base as UFC, because the UFC fan base is almost like the boxing fan base, in my personal opinion. UFC, and I talked to Geek Zip about this, UFC and boxing are a higher price caliber fan base. The more average fan will watch it on TV, whether it's on HBO or on local TV, they'll watch the event. But for the people that want to go to these events, it's usually the high rollers, They're trying to turn WWE into a high roller product when it was originally a group of carnies. They were a group of carnies doing the show, and it was meant for everyone. Everyone that couldn't afford these other shows, they can come here and watch this instead. Now, the other issue is Mark Shapiro. And if you don't know who Mark Shapiro is the TKO COO, and he made an admission during one of their strategy conferences. The conferences, they talk about money and how much they're making and how well they're doing. TKO's own Mark Shapiro publicly said that ESPN's $29 a month price is somewhat prohibitive. So prohibitive. Jeez. And I'm going to pull up this video of whatchamacallit. It is only audio. It was the best I can find. I found quotes online, but I figured let's just get the audio itself from the conference. But here we go. Let me rewind it. It's pretty.
Moving from Peacock to ESPN.
I'm gonna move myself. I'm gonna just put myself right up here. Should I hang out next to Mark Shapiro? I'm just gonna be up here. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna rewind this because you guys missed half the text. I apologize. UFC is very same fans. Are they really? Because I've heard those tickets were costly, man. Maybe it's just boxing. I'll take that back if that's the case.
Moving from Peacock to ESPN.
So the unlimited tier is what the new app of ESPN. It's, I guess it's not the same as ESPN Plus. ESPN Unlimited. That's where you can catch any WWE premium live event going forward. If you want to watch like old pay-per-views before their collaboration with ESPN, you got to go to Netflix. That's where all the stuff before WrestlePalooza came out.
Impact us. I will tell you this. Just think of it. Are you worried you'll get lost? Are you worried people have a hard time finding you? Are you worried they'll take up the sub price too high?
Well, we're talking about when they started their contract with Peacock, and this was before they forced all of us to move from the WWE network, which, by the way, still the best thing in the world, but I guess the cost to keep it up was too much for WWE. But the WWE network is perhaps the best version of the streaming service for WWE. But they were worried about being lost inside the Peacock app, which is true. You got lost, but eventually people got used to it.
Cost of entry will be prohibitive and total success. You know, I'll remind you, when we took the UFC to ESPN Plus was in 3 million homes. That's it.
And it was also expensive. ESPN Plus was expensive. And then not only that, the one thing people worried about with WWE moving to ESPN is that we had to pay double for the PL event. And the reason that is because when ESPN started acquiring all the UFC events, not only did you have to pay the monthly price to have ESPN Plus, but apparently, and this is what my friends told me who actually religiously watch UFC, they also had to pay the cost to get the event. So UFC, I don't know, $325. You know, you paid the whatever cost for ESPN Plus, but then you had to pay on top of that the cost to watch that event, which is kind of the business model that honestly AEW is doing right now. If you have, HBO Max, for example, you have to pay for that, for the HBO Max, whether you pay HBO through cable or you have to buy HBO on its own as the Max app. On top of that subscription, you got to pay an additional $30 for any event. So AEW Revolution is the next event. If I want to watch it live, I would have to pay $30 on top of the Max subscription that I have. It's a lot of money, and that's why pirating has become a thing for some. I don't pirate. I know people.
It's the same thing here. ESPN Unlimited is a phenomenal.
I mean, it's not if you're just a wrestling fan. I'll be honest with you. If you're just a wrestling fan, it is a crap in the face. The only reason Peacock succeeded is because people that watch WWE can watch that, but you can also watch Peacock Universal Comcast related shows and movies. So I can watch horror movies. So if you're a big horror fan, they have a lot of horror movies in the Universal brand. They have action movies. They have TV shows. If you're a big Office fan, well, guess what? All the Office episodes are there. So that's why Peacock succeeded. Shapiro is playing a dangerous game because he thinks everyone that watches WWE is a 100% sports fan. I will tell you, and I said this again, is something I brought up with GeekZip last night. I don't religiously watch every sport. I'm being dead serious. So for example, with baseball, I don't watch all the Yankee games. I show up at the playoffs. I don't have time to watch all the sports. You're not going to convince me with the ESPN app. It's not my interest. Used to pirate, but now I have everything. There you go. There's no reason to pirate nowadays. But yeah, Peacock worked because of that. I don't know if it's going to be as successful with ESPN, but if people are desperate to watch WWE, they'll do anything.
It's worth every penny. If you're a sports fan watching ESPN, you are.
I got this Yankee hat during a Yankee game. It has the Puerto Rican flag. Main reason I wear it. I have other Yankee hats. I'm a Yankee fan, but I don't religiously watch it. I'm gonna get hated after this.
We've got some work to do here. Look.
Yeah, he's like, if you're not a fan, we got some work to do. Okay.
Will immediately get better once they strike their deal with Comcast, YouTube, and Dish, specifically those three, that allows viewers to authenticate. So I'm at home, I have DirecTV as an example, and because I have DirecTV, I authenticate on ESPN Unlimited. It's a very easy process, and it costs me $0.
Well, that's not necessarily true. So to clarify what he's saying is, so if you have cable, don't diss the Yankees, Rays, okay? Careful there. So if you have cable, for example, if you have a cable provider, and part of your cable package, you get ESPN. If you have ESPN as part of your cable package, all you have to do, like you said, authenticate similar to what you do with other channels. Like for me, USA, if I want to watch USA on my computer to watch SmackDown, I just have to authenticate USA Network through my cable provider, and I can watch live events for no cost. Same thing with ESPN. Now, it's been challenging depending on the provider you have. So some people have been easily able to authenticate it just by logging in their account, their cable provider or dish provider, whatever. But for me, for example, I have Fios Verizon because that's the best package you can get in my area. I had to go into the Fios page where I pay my bills and everything and select my packages and add ESPN Unlimited as an incentive, similar to what I do with, HBO. I have to add it as an additional incentive, even though it's for free. It says free, but I have to add it. How the F I would know that unless I went to the app? I had to go to my Verizon account to do that. It took me like 30 minutes. I never watched WrestlePalooza live because I couldn't get the login to work. And when I authenticated, I had to wait a few days. So it's a horrible setup. Now, and then there's other places like Comcast, he brought up DirecTV, Comcast, or whoever. They still don't have an agreement with ESPN to have ESPN Unlimited to their customers for free if you have ESPN as your cable provider, as part of your cable provider. So that's why some of the fans are pissed, because even though they have ESPN on their channel, like ESPN promised that if you have the channel on cable, you get it for free, they're not getting it for free. If you have the whole triple package of Disney, Hulu, and ESPN, it somehow doesn't work either. So it's become a damn issue. And this is part of the thing. He's saying it's an issue. But he's saying, oh, you can authenticate very easily. I'm like, yeah, but that should have been set up before WrestlePalooza. The problem of this thing is ESPN Unlimited collaboration with WWE was supposed to start at WrestleMania 42. WrestleMania 42, I believe, was the first premium live event that ESPN was supposed to do. But they decided to jump the gun literally 4 months or so to WrestlePalooza. So WrestlePalooza, I think it was in October or September, they jumped the gun that far in, saying, no, we're just going to start now. Even though they didn't fix these kinks, and now we have angry fan bases. But let Mark Shapiro keep talking.
ESPN Unlimited. If you don't have DirecTV, or you have Comcast and ESPN hasn't closed out their deal yet, well, then you have to pay $29. And that is, in today's economy, certainly middle income and low income earners are having with affordability. So they have to get those deals done. And until they do, that will affect our audience. But I believe they're going to get them done. Vitaro has promised us they're on the heels of getting them done. And when they do, ESPN Unlimited will be the same appointment viewership destination that it is today.
This should be fixed before WrestleMania 42. Whether it'll happen, who knows?
On the mothership. So we're excited. We're excited about that ultimately getting done. And I should tell you this, very important event. We had a massive event in Chicago this weekend, Elimination Chamber, one of our big premium live events, PLEs as we call it.
Anyway, he's going to talk about they did a better outing on ESPN Plus through Elimination Chamber than WrestlePalooza. WrestlePalooza was a brand new event, the first time done for WWE. Of course, it wasn't going to get a lot of viewership. Elimination Chamber is it's the last show before WrestleMania. Of course, people are going to tune in to watch him and Nick Khan tricking Mark Shapiro to say, oh, look how good we did. Dude, give me consistent numbers and then we'll talk. Anyway, we'll go back to Mark Shapiro. He pretty much said it plainly right there. When your own executive is calling out your partner's pricing on the record, that tells you everything where this relationship stands. If all of that wasn't enough, there's now a $5 million class action lawsuit filed on January 8th of this year in U.S. District Court in Connecticut. Two plaintiffs, Michael DeSea from New Jersey and Rebecca Toback from New York, are leading it. The claim? Deceptive marketing. And this is what happened. WWE and ESPN told fans that existing ESPN subscribers will get access to the PLEs, like I just stated. WWE President Nick Khan went on a podcast and literally said there would be no upcharge, just like the Peacock deal. Peacock, you just pay for Peacock, that's it. WWE was included, no extra charge. The official press release even said, for ESPN, said the same thing. But then what happened? Fans who already had ESPN through their cable, whether it's YouTube TV, Xfinity, found out they still had to pay an additional $29.99 extra for ESPN Unlimited to watch the WWE PLEs. That's a bait and switch, at least to these two plaintiffs. Between 95,000 and 125,000 fans sign up for the ESPN before WrestlePalooza. That's millions of dollars generated on what the lawsuit calls misleading promises. Now, here's where I'll be fair, at least for both sides. Some cable providers, DirecTV, Verizon Fios, Spectrum, did give their customers access at no extra cost. Verizon Fios customer here, I can say for a fact that's true. So it wasn't a total lie, but the communication was terrible. Or at least they should be upfront that we don't have all the providers set up just yet. They could have at least been honest about that. We've set up the deal with DirecTV, Verizon, and Spectrum. We're still working on these other people. Please be patient or whatever. But they didn't. They kept saying, yep, everything's free. Everything's free. If you're going to make it provider specific, at least say it up front. Don't make a blanket statement and let fans find out the hard way when they're trying to watch WrestlePalooza, which became a big thing that night. That though is on both ESPN and WWE. Here's my take, and this is where I go a little hard. This deal is not getting canceled, obviously, by no chance. It's a 5-year deal. 1.6 billion over 5 years. Nobody's walking away from that money. But the relationship is fractured. It's very reminiscent and familiar to their relationship with Fox, because they promised a certain amount of viewership to Fox, and they didn't get it. And here's what I think will happen because of this fracture. For ESPN, they need to get those cable provider deals done so fans aren't double paying. Mark Shapiro said it himself. Until that happens, the audience is suppressed and both sides lose. Now for WWE, they need to stop treating fans like ATMs. The watch party ban, the inflated WrestleMania prices, the bait and switch on streaming access. It's death by 1,000 cuts. The fans' trust on the product is eroding by the day. For the US, for us US fans, pay attention to what happens with WrestleMania 42. If Night 1's linear hour on ESPN draws big numbers, but ESPN Unlimited paid portion doesn't, that's the canary in the coal mine. That tells you the pricing barrier is real and something has to give. And credit where credit is due. Freddie Prinze Jr. called this out back in December when everyone clowned on him, and WWE and ESPN said, Freddie who? WWE tried to bury his credibility, and now they're paying for it even worse. ESPN gave a PR no answer. 3 months later, every single thing he said came true. The man had some sources, so respect to him where it's due. So anyway, that's my full breakdown. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but if I did, let me know in the comments. Now, I do want to hear from you. Drop your takes on this in the comments for the video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Do you think the ESPN deal survives all the 5 years? Will they get a renewal after the 5 years? And are you paying $29.99 a month? Or are you finding other ways to watch it? Who's more at fault, in your opinion, WWE or ESPN? Let me know in the comments, and we will talk on the next video.